whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. Hi, I'm attorney Gavin in New York. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jello, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format. Wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. The place to be is right here with me. It is Random Topic Thursdays, only on channel GBoot2786 here on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, as well as if you're watching on Gavin Richard, our backup channel on Facebook, or on Periscope via Gavin Rich 2786. Thank you. We will have on, as always, our brother Shawn James, who is the author of books such as The Man Crisis and John Haynes, The Man with Nothing to Lose. You can pick up some of his books on Amazon.com as we speak.
ladies and gentlemen. That's Amazon.com. Look up and buy his other books, such as The Man Crisis and Stop Simping in Cyberspace, which is available now. We'll bring Shawn in a minute, but first, our topics for tonight are as follows: disturbing new details concerning the shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. Biden's approval rating hits an all time new low. And of course, we will be discussing the trial that sets to take place in California uh, concerning the allegations of sexual assault by legendary comedian and entertainer Bill Cosby, filed by Judy Huff. And that is set to begin next week. So we were supposed to have on, and we should be expecting our brother Andrew Wyatt, who will come in a little later on this evening, ladies and gentlemen. But in the meantime, let us also pay some dividends. And our advertising. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I was getting a message. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have, of course, ways that you can support this channel. Go to Nawny'sCreoleBlends.com. That is our new seasoning. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nawny's goes great with every dish. Also, check out our music, Video Soul, which is available on Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. And our theme song for this evening, as always, got to get on up. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get on down, it is time to get on up and let us get ourselves moving on this special edition of Random Topic Thursdays.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll live. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, a pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Just when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor. Yeah, gotta get on. Come on, baby, gotta get on. Baby, feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Whoa, feel the groove, get on the floor. Gotta get on up, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Random Topic Thursdays with your boy, brother Gavin Richard, Gboot2786, whoever you are, wherever you are. I hope you are blessed and doing safe. Shout out to Judah Queen, Derek Bailey, Darius from Atlanta, and a bunch of others. We are privileged to welcome our special, we're waiting on our special guest, Mr. Andrew Wyatt, who is supposed to be stopping by to the show. However, I know he's had an emergency meeting, a conference call he had to do, finding out now. So he probably will be stopping in a little bit later on. But that's okay. We're going to have some fun and enjoy ourselves and talk about the craziness that is Random Topic Thursdays. Let us bring in our brother and guest, as always, our author extraordinaire, author of 75 books, including The Man Crisis, brother Shawn James. Shawn, how are you doing this evening? Okay, Shawn, I am having, for some reason, I don't know if it's me, I can't hear Shawn. Can anybody hear Shawn? If you can hear me, say yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can't hear Shawn. Shawn has an audio issue. Shawn, you might have to remove yourself and come back in. That might help the situation. I know StreamYard is junky with stuff like this, but yeah, we're waiting on Andrew Wyatt to come in. I know he's got a conference call. They've been busy because, and we'll be talking about this, Bill Cosby's trial in California. His civil trial is set to begin. And I was able to get in touch with Andrew. I told him to call him Andrew, so he can talk about Dr. Cosby and the work that he's been doing. And in particular, just the fact that Dr. Cosby's done a lot for, as I've always vouched for him, for this community, for the Black community. And I felt he got railroaded. Can't talk to you right now. Sorry. He's definitely got railroaded in his trial. But yeah, you guys can definitely hear me because I got the microphone there. Shawn is using the AirPods, sticking in the computer, but they work. But he's always done it as he's been on this channel for over a year and a half or better. We're going on 2 years, I think, since we did Random Topic Thursdays, and I just started doing it just like that. So hopefully Shawn is coming back in. But everybody, if you're doing good, I want you to give me a big round of applause if you're doing great. This weekend is going good. You ready for Memorial Day weekend? Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow is Friday, so that begins. Of course, everyone is anxious for the weekend. All right. Okay. What's up, Tyree? All right. Now, where is Shawn? So Shawn has not come back. Let's see if we can re-invite him. Okay, I just sent an email to Shawn. All right, so we're waiting for Shawn to come back, but I guess I can get started. So I want to see y'all waiting. Nothing worse than just sitting here waiting like this, nothing to do. So let's talk about these new details that are coming in concerning the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. Now, what's happened recently, of course, everybody knows that the number of people that have been killed has gone up. Previously, they said it was 14, I believe it's 14 children and one adult. And then, of course, that number rose to 20 children and two adults, or 19 children and two adults at this time. And it has left many people in this country shaken as a result of it. But what is most disturbing about what alleged killer Salvador Romero's did at 18 years old is that he was new details are coming in that he was able to get inside this school, Robb Elementary School, for over an hour uninterrupted, walking around with a firearm, and apparently no one, not even police, rushing in to do anything. No teachers interrupted him when he came in. He just walked in freely. Now, they urged frustrated onlookers, they say urged police officers to charge into the Texas elementary school where a gunman's rampage killed 19 children and two teachers. Witnesses said Wednesday as investigators worked to track the massacre that lasted upwards of 40 minutes and ended when an 18-year-old shooter was killed by a Border Patrol team. We're going to CBS now for this video. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen.
Or more before he was shot and killed.
Yes, I'm Tony DeGopel in for Nora, who's recovering from COVID. And tonight we are here in Uvalde, Texas, once again, where a community's grief is turning to anger and frustration because of new questions about the official timeline of Tuesday's school shooting that killed 19 children and two teachers. A spokesperson for the Texas Department of Public Safety said the gunman walked into the school through an unlocked side door and was inside a classroom for more than an hour before a tactical team could storm the building and take him out. These new details came after videos emerged from during the shooting showing parents desperate, begging officers to enter the building and rescue their children. And the massacre has reignited a national debate over the country's gun laws.
They didn't identify the three other individuals, the three other children that were killed. We'll continue to play this.
As we learned tonight that President Biden and the First Lady will travel here on Sunday. Lots of news to get to, and we're going to begin with CBS's Janet Chamberlain, who's here to start us off. Janet, what press conference we witnessed?
Indeed, and it's bringing even more questions tonight about the response by police during what was an active shooter situation. Authorities tonight confirming that the gunman was in the elementary school for an hour or more before he was shot and killed.
The anguished cries of desperate parents after the massacre at Robb Elementary. Pleading with police to rescue their children. Jacinto Cesar's raced to the school when he heard about the shooting. His daughter Jacqueline was killed.
I didn't feel the parents at all. As soon as they heard that gunshot, they should have rushed in.
Tonight, Texas investigators going public with a new timeline. As they face criticism, they didn't move quickly enough.
11:40, he walks into the west side of Robb Elementary.
4 minutes later, Uvalde police arrived.
The initial officers, they received gunfire. They don't make entry initially because of the gunfire they're receiving. But we have officers calling for additional resources.
Authorities say the gunfire then slowed considerably. An hour later, CBS News has learned an elite Border Patrol team moving behind a shield entered the classroom and killed the suspect.
And when I heard the shooting through the door, I told my friend to hide under something so he won't find it.
Tonight, a first-hand account from a student inside the classroom. This 9-year-old boy, his identity protected, describing moments of sheer terror.
He shut our next person's door, and then we have a door in the middle, and he opened it, and then he came in and he crouched a little bit, and he said it's time to die.
And his agonizing account of a classmate hit by gunfire.
The cop said, "Help if you need help," and then they got one of the persons in my class said, "Help." The guy overheard, and he came in and shot her. And then the cops barged into that classroom, and the guy shot the cops, and the cops just started shooting.
Among his classmates who died, Tess Mata, a softball player with a contagious laugh, and Alexandria Rubio, receiving the Good Citizen Award and making the All-A honor roll. This heart-wrenching photo shows 11 of the 19 children who died. Today would have been their last day of school. Tonight, their names are on white crosses posted outside of it.
And it won't be part of the official death count, but it is part of the toll of this horrific event. Joe Garcia, the husband of teacher Irma Garcia, who was killed Tuesday, he died today of a heart attack. This is him this morning, visiting his wife's memorial here at the elementary school. They were high school sweethearts, and friends say he died of a broken heart. The two of them, they leave behind 4 children.
4 children who had a living mother and father on Monday and the week without either of them. It's a tragedy.
So what they're saying is that police officers didn't respond in time enough and apparently stayed outside when the shooting happened. They did not rush in. And we saw something similar that took place, if you remember, 2 years ago with Parkland, where there was shooting going on and the sheriff's deputy heard what was going on, heard the shots, and didn't rush in. Looks like we got Shawn back. Shawn had to go to his other computer. He had to go to the 95 Windows.
Well, I bought another MacBook Pro, but this one, I'm going to see what's happening with the audio issues after the show.
Yeah, but welcome, Shawn, everybody. Shawn, did you get a chance to look at and listen to the video?
Yeah, I listened to part of it, and it was sad to hear about this tragic event. It's also to hear that the police responded the way they did.
Right. Yeah, it's disturbing the way that they responded, but essentially, I guess to boil it all down, they had to change and update their timeline because they said 11:40 this gunman went in. But the thing is that he went in uninterrupted. He was able to walk in the classroom, into the school with the firearm. Now, if you know anything about the gun laws in this nation, you cannot even be...
Everything's changed. You might have to make
Sorry.
multiple offers without knowing if the appliances and systems are even working.
Yeah. You cannot even be on the sidewalk, and it's a public sidewalk, and you're right by a school. If you're right on a school, if you're walking on a sidewalk and the school is right there, you can't even be seen with a firearm. You can't let alone go on the school. Definitely can't go on school grounds with it because the law states this is a no fire. You've seen these signs before, posted on streets about a no firearm zone. Of course, if you're not trying to go to the school or you're in your car, that's one thing. But these cowards, and we got to address this, Shawn, they seem to attack where they know the most vulnerable, the defenseless will be. They know where people will not be armed, will respond, quickly enough to fight them. And even if you call the police on time, apparently, that's not going to help you either because remember, police officers respond to crime. they do not necessarily stop it when it happens or before it happens. It's not Minority Report with Tom Cruise. And yes, you saw the story of Irma Gonzalez, her husband, uh, who died of a heart attack, apparent heart attack today. Uh, just having 4 children. It's all a terrible tragedy. But when I see these things take place now, of course, you hear the cries for gun control. And Shawn, you and I have had this conversation. We talked about this with Buffalo.
Yeah.
How the narrative was changing now from how this white supremacist drove 4 hours to Buffalo to a Tops grocery store. He had staked out the place previously, allegedly. He staked out the place the day before, and he took out easy targets. He took out the elderly. He took out those that went on, except the brother who was the former cop who was doing security, who unfortunately could have probably gotten the guy killed. But then what happened is this brother actually, the shooter was wearing Kevlar. So I'm listening to all of this stuff take place, man. It's all disgusting, but to hear all of this. But what do you think of what happened? Obviously, I know you're saying this is a tragedy beyond reach, but do you think what do you think about what happened? What do you think of the solutions, and what do you think of these cries for gun policies to be more strict?
Well, again, I think it's a great tragedy that happened here to these children, and I'm really sorry for the losses of all of the families whose children lost their lives. And what really is troubling to me is that again, it's just keeps happening all the time. And sad part is, I had sadly predicted this many years ago when I had made videos talking about mass shootings. Now, as everybody knows from YouTube, I have made multiple videos on mass shootings, and I have picked up a pattern and profile for these shooters. And sadly, as with this case, this guy fit the pattern and profile for beta males that I had talked about in my book, The Man Crisis. So I know what happens with these kind of guys out here. And this guy, he was just he fit all of the pattern and profile to the letter. He had the warning signs, but sadly, nobody really paid attention to those warning signs as related to this individual. And that's the sad part about this whole case was this guy was a clear and present danger to everyone. And the big problem with these types of shooters is that everybody wants to focus on the guns, but the guns are not the problem with these individuals. The problem with beta males is the way we are raising children here in America, because the way we are raising children here in America is creating these mass shooters, because the whole complete collapse of the American family in the 1960s created the whole what I call factory that socially engineered these beta males. And that's why we have these guys becoming out here and participating in this violence, even in spite of the tightening of gun control laws. Because I remember back in the 90s, we had the Brady Bill, which was supposed to deal with background checks and make it where people couldn't get access to guns. And we had an assault weapons ban in the 90s. However, as we had these laws in place, mass shootings didn't go down. Instead, they went up. And they've been going up ever since the 1980s, when we started to see the fallout from the collapse of the American family through the establishment of the welfare state and no-fault divorce, which created the single mother household. And with this creation of the single mother household led to the creation of the beta male population that we established back 60 years ago. And what we're seeing is that these males don't know how to function in society. And your Salvador Ramos was one of these individuals who could not function in society. And he just did not have any sort of male life skills or male survival skills. And because he didn't know how to function, this is why he wanted to destroy the world around him, because this is what these beta males do. They don't know how to work in any sort of situation as related to dealing with the world, because they have a feminine mindset. They have female life skills and survival skills, and they expect the world to give them everything. And because their mothers coddle and shelter them, these boys are not prepared for the real world. So when they deal with the real world and they have to deal with the frustrations of the real world, what happens is these males go out here, they get angry, they get frustrated, and they explode in rage, and they participate in these extreme acts of violence. Many people will sit there and say this boy was mentally ill, but he was not mentally ill. No,
it's trying to say he was bullied by. Look, if you look at this, bullied, and he had of his clothes. His poor family couldn't speak. I saw an article. His grandfather said he didn't even know he had weapons. I'm like, come on, man.
No, that happens with beta males. They hide stuff. They have the secret world that they go in. But the whole thing is, he wasn't poor. He wasn't. The whole thing is, he wasn't poor because if he was working at Wendy's and he said people were bullying him about his clothes, he could go out here and buy clothes. I mean, I was poor myself, and I grew up and I was bullied. And the whole thing is, I just went out here and buckled down and said, look, I'm going to change the way I do things. But beta males don't want to change the way they do things. They want everything to cater to them. So the problem isn't the situation. The problem is the way the beta male is raised. And from an article I read, his mother and his grandmother were having problems with this boy. And some people were saying that he was becoming more and more aggressive, looking to go out here and hurt people. So when I look at the problems, I'm seeing the problems as related to his family and his upbringing, because one report said that his mother said that he was a good boy, but she was in denial about his behavior because neighbors and other family members were saying that they were having problems with him. And a lot of this, the whole thing actually started, they say, because of a cell phone bill his grandmother found, because he was on the phone and in his own house. He was having problems with the stepfather, without stepfather, but the guy who was living with his mother over the internet. So this male was having problems for an extended period of time. And sadly, people want to say it's the guns. No, it wasn't the guns. I've seen this pattern with many of these mass shooters, like the Tops supermarket guy, the Dylan Roof, Elliot Rodger, Sung Hee Cho. A lot of these males, they come up dysfunctional, and it's all due to the way we've been raising boys to become men. And what the government wants to do is blanket it and say, oh, it's the guns. No, it's the way we're raising boys to become men, because the way we're raising boys to become men is creating monsters, and nobody wants to take responsibility because it was policies from the left and the right that created the beta male. And to go out here and to change things means to actually take accountability for the failed great society that broke up the family, took the father out of the home, because nobody's asking the critical question, where is Salvador Ramos's father? I'm going to be asking that question in a video tonight at midnight. But the whole thing is, we see with a lot of these shooters, there's no father in the home. And we see that there's no father providing structure for these boys. And that's why these boys are going berserk, shooting up places and wanting to kill people. And nobody wants to talk about that, because what happens is, to talk about that means we have to actually deal with the family unit that has been destroyed. We have to deal with the mother who cannot raise children on her own, clearly. And we also have to deal with the job market and realize that people are working too many hours, and we need some time for the family, because this is not a gun issue. Again, this is a family issue. This has to do with our 60 years of our new age parenting, our chickens coming home to roost as related to the way we raise children. And as Mr. Superboy has said, many of these children don't even get a childhood anymore because of the way we raise these children. And when the way we're raising these children is making monsters, and America has to realize that it's not a gun issue, it's an issue as related to their failed great society of the 60s and a completely damaged American family.
Let me stop you here, Shawn. I want everybody, I played this on Tuesday, but did you see this video, or did you watch the show Tuesday when I played Steve Kerr's response?
I was busy doing something else.
I'm sure you were. Okay.
I'm not going to talk about basketball. Nothing's happened with our team in the last 6 hours. We're going to start the same way tonight. Any basketball questions don't matter. Since we left shoot around, 14 children were killed 400 miles from here, and a teacher. And in the last 10 days, we've had elderly Black people killed in a supermarket in Buffalo. We've had Asian churchgoers killed in Southern California, and now we have children murdered at school. When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on H.R. 8, which is a background check rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it, to hold on to power. So I ask you, Mitch McConnell, I ask all of you senators who refuse to do anything about the violence and school shootings and supermarket shootings, I ask you, are you going to put your own desire for power ahead of the lives of our children and our elderly and our churchgoers? Because that's what it looks like. It's what we do every week.
So let me just say this: that HR 8 bill, a special judge has been on it. We've talked about it. Bernard has been on here. We've talked about it. That's a horrible bill, as is the that other bill we talked about, HR 127. That was that was heard by the 117th Congress, which started last year. That's an awful bill. That's the Sabika Sheik Firearm Licensing and Registration Act that has been sitting on. What did you think of hearing and he's not the only one. I think Matthew McConaughey has also said something because he's from Uvalde, Texas. They're talking about gun reform and so forth. All these celebrities that do this. Bear in mind with Shawn, most of these celebrities, if not all of them, have the benefit of armed security guards. They have money to live in gated communities. Other people do not. This is so. Yeah,
well, I just think it's posturing for the camera because no gun law is stopping these mass shooters. From what I have seen from my research for the man crisis back in 2017, these mass shooters are mostly buying their guns legally. And they're buying their guns, like in the case of this young man who murdered 19 children. They bought it legally because they could pass a background check. Many of these kids have no criminal record. They have no mental health record. There's nothing there but the anger that they have due to the dysfunctional way they have been raised. So you can pass all the laws you want. It's not going to stop these beta males because it's not going to stop them because they don't have the record. They meet all of the qualifications to purchase guns legally. So everybody wants to sit here and talk about doing something. But the thing is, there's nothing you can really do unless you want to acknowledge that the way we have been raising boys to become men in this country is a complete failure. That's the thing we have to acknowledge here in this country. The way we are raising boys is not creating healthy, functional men because we're seeing the age of these mass shooters starting to get younger with each passing year. I mean, this year we've had 2 18-year-old mass shooters, and that's really showing us how it's all about the way we are raising boys. And we can sit here and talk about we're going to put a background check. You cannot put a background check on a guy with no criminal record and no mental health history. I mean, even if you ban it.
Right. That's another thing. Yeah, you can't do that.
And even if you do talk about he's 21, that's not going to stop these beta males from participating in their rampages, because I have seen what happens with these beta males. In the UK, they banned guns. And what happened is the beta males started participating in knife attacks in the UK. And in Canada, they started weaponizing trucks to run over people. We had an incel who was upset because he couldn't get any women, and he weaponized a truck. And I remember back in 1995, I'm going to go way back to one of the most horrific acts here in America, the Oklahoma City bombing. I mean, Tim McVeigh and your Terry Nichols They didn't have any guns. No, they just had a truck, some fuel oil, and some ammonium, and they created a bomb to go out here and participate in their violence. So it's not a gun issue, no matter what these politicians and these celebrities say. We can have all the gun laws we want. These beta males, due to the way they're raised, they are just going to find some way to participate in their violence. And the whole thing is that unless we deal with the way we have just been raising boys and the way we have had this very misandristic culture here in America, we're not going to deal with these shootings in the right way, because it's all about the way we are raising boys. It's all about the negative messages we put about here, about men and boys. We have a really hostile environment towards men in our society. And all of this is creating a man crisis, because these beta males feel like they have no hope. They feel like they have no purpose. They feel like they have no direction. There is no other man to give them guidance. These men are just filled with anger and rage. And this is why we're seeing these violent incidents. And due to the COVID lockdowns, we're seeing an increasing frequency in this violence, because these men they're just filled with a lot of anger. And that's because we don't have a family unit in place to give these boys structure and guidance, because nobody wants to talk about
guidance.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk about how these boys get no structure, no guidance due to the 12 to 16 hour work days that corporate America gives people. So who's sitting there with their kid at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock when they get out of school? Who's sitting there talking to this boy? Who's sitting there as he's getting ideas off the internet, like in the case of the top shooter, to tell him that a lot of these stuff that he's listening to is absolutely crazy? And who is sitting there talking to these children? That's a critical question the corporate guys who want to work people for 12 to 14 hours need to understand. If there's nobody teaching the children, giving them guidance and giving them parental support, then what happens is you get kids who sit there, listen to a lot of different little crazy information on the internet, like in the case of the top shooter, or they're sitting there angry like this guy, and they're looking for somebody to hurt because they're hurting inside, because nobody is looking at taking care of these kids. Because again, at 18 years old, to be sitting there thinking about doing a mass shooting, that really shows that there has been no family structure in this child's life at all.
Yeah, and then when you listen to the story, the grandfather who said he didn't know he had he could get these guns. He worked at Wendy's. I'm trying to figure out, he bought over $3,000 worth of firearms, of ammunition, total. An AR-15, roughly, if you get one, Shawn, depending on the type you have, let's just say ballpark figure, could be between $800 and $1,500.
He would have to be working a long time there. I don't think he was just working. I think he was stealing his parents' money.
He probably was. He probably was. But let's listen to his grandfather. Shawn, let me stop you.
Spend a lot of time in his room alone?
Yes.
Can y'all hear?
Yeah, I hear.
Work with me. Not all the time, but I would take him to work.
And it didn't seem like he went to school very often.
Well, this last year he didn't go to school.
Wait, what?
Graduate,
It didn't seem like he went to school very often.
No, well, this last year he didn't go to school. He didn't graduate, but he didn't go to school.
Why?
I don't know. You tell them, and they think they know kids nowadays. They know everything.
Did you notice that?
Oh God!
He was growing disturbed. Was he becoming upset? Was
He was very quiet. He was very quiet.
Everybody says he almost didn't talk very much.
No, he didn't talk very much.
Did he talk to you?
Oh, just when we go to work or here or there, you know.
What kind of,
very, very, very seldom.
What kind of things would you talk about?
No, we never did have conversations. I remember he would tell me sometimes. I remember when I was little, I would carry him, and he would tell me things like that.
Why didn't he live with his mother?
They had probably problems or something.
And so it was his birthday last Monday? Turned 18?
Yeah, on
the 16th.
16 or something. Yeah, last week I think it was birthday.
Yeah.
I took him to Applebee's to eat supper or dinner or whatever. It's a shame.
Did you know that he bought those weapons?
No. Like I said, I don't like weapons. I cannot be around weapons.
Because you have a record,
Yeah.
and it's illegal for you to actually be around
I
them.
cannot be around guns. I hate when I see all the news, all those people that get shot. I'm against all that. I said, why do they let these people buy guns and all that? So stupid, whatever they shoot.
And Rolando, when you heard about the shooting, what did you do? Did you even know that it was your grandson?
No, the neighbor called me. He told me she had been shot. And when I came over here, he told me that he had taken off on the...
And your grandson didn't have a driver's license, right? He didn't even know how to drive.
No.
Oh goodness.
What went through your mind when you heard?
So he didn't know how to drive. He works at Wendy's.
And so did he ever talk about
He's
guns?
not going to school. You can't be around guns. Something doesn't smell right.
Saying it came out of the blue. If you could have done anything differently, would you have done?
He's holding a plate in his hand.
Or this or that there. If I would have known, I would have reported it.
You would have reported your own grandson.
Because I'm against all that.
Evil.
He's not crying too.
No.
He lost his grandson. I mean, he does.
He's detached. I mean,
He's
he lost
detached.
his wife. I mean, this is his wife that died.
He lost his wife. He lost his grandson. His grandson is now labeled as a serial murderer. The granddad has his issues. He can't be around guns because he's a felon.
Yeah.
Darius from Atlanta said, "No wonder granddad is a damn f up, and so is the kid. Apple didn't fall from the tree."
I have to ask the question: where is the father? That's the question no one is asking.
That's a good question. Is this his maternal grandfather or his paternal? That wasn't established. But we're going to be monitoring this. But do you see, let me just ask you final thing. Do you see a change in the gun laws that's going to happen?
I don't really think that they're going to change the gun laws. If they do, it's going to be an empty symbolic gesture, because it's not the gun laws that are the problem. The people, they go to the gun laws because it's an easy fix that they think. But the whole thing is, it's not the gun laws that are the problem here. The problem is that we have really done a crap job in America of building a family unit. I mean, we have destroyed the family in this country for 60 years, and nobody wants to address the family because, one, we don't want to upset all the women voters out here who are a majority of the population by saying, hey, the way you're raising kids is messing them up. And two, we don't want to go out here and upset these corporate bosses by letting them know that, look, you're going to have to change these work schedules to 8-hour schedules so that people can have time for their children, so that they can have time to raise their children. Because when I look at what happened with this Ramos kid, it reminds me of something a YouTuber named David Carroll used to talk about in many of his classic videos about how these single mothers thought they could raise boys to become men. And this guy's whole pattern fits everything he said in his videos to a T about how they start out raising the boy by themselves with no problems. But as he gets into adolescence, he becomes completely out of control. And that's what happened here. The boy became out of control with his mother, along with his sister. And she sent them to the grandparents, hoping they could get them in line. But in the case of both of this boy and his sister, they just got completely out of control. And this whole situation is due to the way our family structures are here in America and how dysfunctional they have become. Again, they want to talk about, they want to stop people from buying guns. I know from my own research from over 15 years of doing research on beta males, a gun ain't going to stop these guys. They'll go out here, they'll get knives, they'll get trucks, they'll get cars, they'll do anything to participate in their destruction. So you're not going to stop a beta male. The only way you stop a beta male is by not raising one from minute one.
Well, first and foremost, let me just say this. We're still waiting to hear. So the grandmother was injured. They don't say that she was dead, but she was shot. And they came and said all this. I found it interesting how they were able to get this information all this quick. But he doesn't. But here's the thing: he doesn't know how to drive, right?
That's why he crashed the car.
And as far as the grandfather was saying, and so he, however, does know how to work because he gets money to go buy all these weapons. They didn't check, apparently, that he had all of this stuff bought. They say he used a Daniel Defense DDM4 V7, an AR-15 style rifle, and a handgun. Now, I want people to pay attention to this. Now, what you're seeing here in this view, this is the rooms. This is the grandfather.
So was there a hole in the wall or the door?
Right here. There's a 2x4 here. So we just screwed that in there.
Why'd you put that? So no one could break in. So preventative?
Okay.
Now, did you have bullet holes in the house when you came home?
No.
Okay, first off.
No, a key right here. I think, the way I see it, I don't know. But there's blood all over. I never seen that out, and I don't know, he shot it from here to there.
Because
From there. There was a little blood here.
Really? And you had to clean that up?
My sister and this friend of mine, her cousins cleaned it up.
Wait.
Hey, that's a crime scene.
Some of her skin or whatever.
Oh my gosh, look at Roman, it's all the way up here.
Yes.
Wow.
Wait a minute. He cleaned up blood?
You're not supposed to do that until they finish their
Crime
investigation.
scene. Yes.
That's evidence.
Yes. That's also something, even if they did inadvertently, that's called obstruction of justice. If you do that, I'm not. Oh goodness. I'm just gonna say this. I don't know all the details. The Virginia Tech shooting. When they want to talk about firearms, guys, let me just give you something else, just some details. As I stated before, the Virginia Tech shooter used a Glock 19. He did a Walther P22 pistol. All of these weapons he used were pistols. Now look at how many he killed. 33, including himself. 23 were injured. 17 by gunfire. It don't take. This is a Glock 19. Now he probably had extended. I think he had some extended mags, obviously, because depending on what type of gun you have, some guns may hold, like my Glock 43 really holds 6 bullets, but if you have an extended magazine, you can hold 10. Sometimes if you have a drum, you can hold 60. Just depends, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't take much. So it's not just the AR. He didn't use an AR-15. But I think, and here's the thing, if they tried to do something like that, Americans would respond in November.
Yeah.
They do not want you trampling on their rights. And here's the thing, I feel like Hollywood is out of touch. These people like Steve Kerr, I understand they get emotional. Steve Kerr, I even saw LeBron James tweeting some stuff about this. All of these Hollywood celebrities are out of touch with the average American. And like I said again, they get to have security around them that will die first to protect them because they're getting paid. But you and me, who can't afford a house in Beverly Hills or multiple cars or multiple bodyguards, for instance, or live in a gated community, we don't get that luxury. They do. They're out of touch.
They are completely detached from reality.
All right. And some of these lemmings who want to give up their gun, they don't realize the mistakes that they're making. The prospect of tyranny and why we have a Second Amendment is to protect yourself from tyrants and the police. Now, let me be clear when I say that. It's to protect you from tyrannical forces in government. When government becomes to a point where they're infringing on the rights of the people, their liberties, their freedoms, their lives, that's why you have a Second Amendment. It's a doomsday provision. And guess what? You can only afford to make a mistake once. If you give it up, you can never get it back.
Yep. And that's the thing we have to look out for, because the Second Amendment is one that's important to protect, because it's about making sure that we have a check and a balance on our government so that they will not become tyrants like in Australia.
Yeah. In Australia, they talk about, well, we don't have the mass shootings. No, but what are the robberies and the burglaries like? What are they like? They went up.
Yep.
Okay. So in the meantime, Biden's approval rating drops to all-time low. Now, we know from videos that Joe Biden has come out. He's supposed to be visiting Uvalde, Texas, actually. And a couple other things had happened, especially just to stay right quick on the guns. Beto O'Rourke, did you see this video?
Yeah, I saw it.
You did see it?
Yeah, I saw Beta Male O'Rourke trying to ambush Greg Abbott.
Right. And the people got mad with him and escorted him out. Now, of course, I'm playing this on CNN.
And at this time, I will pass the mic to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
Next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk to the show.
This is totally difficult.
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you're out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch and come to a deal like this to make it look easier. It's on assholes like you. Why don't you get out of here?
Now, Beto O'Rourke did this. Do you think they were right for kicking him out?
They have every right to kick him out, because that was him being a political opportunist, and it was just it was the most disgusting thing I ever saw. I mean, 19 children are killed, and they're having a press conference addressing the 19 children, and this opportunist is looking to try to use it to try to get votes out of people. I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting. I mean, these children have not even been identified by their parents yet, and he's sitting here looking to gain political opportunity. This is just absolutely disgusting, and it just shows how low your Beta O'Rourke is, and how he just shows us how just depraved he is.
Yeah. So we've seen that Biden's approval rating has been dropping recently, is on the skids. Yeah, Beto O'Rourke even said, "We're coming for your guns," when he was trying to run for president. And of course, he got like 12 votes. I can't believe he even thought he would win like this. And you saw the guy on the guy with the walker calling him a sick son of a bitch.
He is.
Yeah. But this is what Biden had to say. President Joe Biden. He said the Second Amendment is not absolute.
I will be traveling to Texas in the coming days to meet with the families. Let them know we have a sense of pain, and hopefully bring some little comfort to the community of shock and grief and trauma. As a nation, I think we all must be there for them. Everyone. And we must ask when in God's name will we do what needs to be done to not completely stop, fundamentally change the amount of carnage that goes on in this country.
Oh, God.
To state the obvious, and Corey and a lot of other people here, I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired of what's going on and continues to go on. I spent my career as chairman of the Judiciary Committee and as vice president working for common sense gun reforms. As I said, as a senator and vice president. While they clearly will not prevent every tragedy, we know certain ones will have significant impact and have no negative impact on the Second Amendment. Second Amendment is not absolute. When it was passed, you couldn't own a cannon. You couldn't own certain kinds of weapons. It's just always been limitations.
Oh, no.
But guess what? These actions we've taken before, they saved lives. And they can do it again. The idea that an 18-year-old can walk into a store and buy weapons of war designed...
Oh, shit. Come on, man.
...to kill.
Stop. AR-15, it calls it a weapon of war. An AR-15 shoots a .22 caliber. Let me show you all what a .22 caliber looks like. Hold on. I can't play no more. This is the bullet that's used, a .22-3 Remington. This is what we use for our AR-15. I want to show you. Okay? This is a .22-3. This is it. This is what's used in an AR-15. Okay? This right here, this is a Winchester cartridge that you find a .308 Winchester. So that is not the type of bullet that is used in AR-15. It's a .22 caliber velocity. It's a .22 cartridge. .22-3 Remington cartridge. That's what's used in your semi-automatic rifles. The United States Army does not use anything like this. If you walked into war with an AR-15 shooting a semi-automatic weapon, you'd be killed. Most of the people who say this are some of the same people who I know for a fact don't go to a gun range. Biden doesn't go to a gun range. Steve Kerr doesn't go to a gun range. They don't spend their time around guns. So when they say stuff like this, they're speaking from a perspective where they have no experience, no knowledge. They're ignorant. A weapon, a .22 caliber is a weapon of war?
No.
An AR-15, you can do more damage with a 12-gauge shotgun. Those are even more dangerous. But here, ladies and gentlemen, President Biden's approval rating. I wanted to show that to y'all, but he said the Second Amendment is not absolute. The language of it says it very clearly. It is. Do we need a history lesson? Should we do that right quick, Shawn? Let's look at it. We're going to get into our next topic. I'm trying to move it quickly as possible, but this is it here, spelled in black and white. Let's look at it, right?
Yeah.
It says here, now, I don't know why they just don't put the whole... It says it right here. Let's look at it. This is the Bill of Rights. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people, not the state, not the government, the people, to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. What does infringement mean?
It means that
The
somebody
act of breaking the terms of a law, agreement, violation, the action of limiting or undermining something. To undermine something, to limit something. So clearly, you are trying to limit my rights. Now, let me be clear about my comments. I am not saying that people all people should have a firearm. Because, yes, when you break the law, if you're a felon, you're a criminal, you're a murderer, you're a rapist, whatever you get convicted of, you forfeit your rights when you go to prison. That's what happens. However, we know obviously some people go and are convicted wrongfully. That does take place. We also know that some people have changed their lives and repented for what they've done. They've been remorseful and they've tried to get their gun rights back. The reason why there was a Second Amendment, it was because the founding fathers and the early Americans fought a major war against another nation that was unlawfully taxing them, being tyrannical. And they realized there may come a time when they're gone that the American people, their children, their grandchildren, will need to arm and protect themselves. That's why we have a Second Amendment. But you look here, this is coming from the Hill. Now, it says that Joe Biden, President Biden's approval rating has dropped. According to the Hill reports, it says that the poll found Biden's approval rating fell 6 percentage points from a week earlier, and it dropped from 76% to 72% among Democrats in the same span. Overall, according to a Reuters Ipsos poll, Biden's approval rating fell to 36%, marking its lowest point to date in that particular poll. Voters have consistently given Biden poor marks on his handling of the economy, which aides argue is strong despite persistent concerns about inflation. When confronted with bad polls, the White House has insisted its agenda benefits the American people, and officials must do a better job of communicating that. Shawn, what do you think of the poll that was released? And it says here Beto O'Rourke is going to attend the protest outside the Houston NRA conference.
Beta male trying to get attention. Well, when it comes down to Joker Joe, the reason why his poll numbers are continuing to drop is because he just doesn't know how to lead. Now, Joker Joe came in looking not to lead the country, but to spite Donald Trump. And his whole campaign for running the country and building back better was based on the emotion of spiting Donald Trump. And he started creating, ironically, all of his problems when he decided to cancel the Keystone Pipeline to throw a middle finger at Donald Trump. Now, he didn't understand that canceling the Keystone Pipeline was going to create the energy problems as related to gas. He didn't understand that gas futures were low because, one, we didn't have a lot of Americans going back to work and there wasn't much demand. And so oil futures were not going to be a major investment anymore. But what happened was when Americans started going back to work, he wound up with oil futures going up, and this had a significant impact on the economy. And your Joker Joe doesn't want to admit that he made a major mistake with that impacted the economy long term, because it was his decision to cancel the Keystone Pipeline that did damage to the U.S. economy. Then he further alienated most American people by trying to force them to take a shot in the arm. And this alienated a lot of American people, like here in New York, due to your Eric Adams continuing with the mandate madness. Many Americans, they're out of a job, many nurses, many essential workers. These were people who would be voters in the future, but your leftists threw a middle finger up at all of those people because they wanted to virtue signal and make it us versus them. And the thing is, they were hurting American citizens with their policies. Now, your Joker Joe further continued to think, oh, I'll be able to push this Build Back Better program and create a great society like LBJ. But most Americans didn't want that. They just wanted to get back to their lives. And this is where we have a disconnect between the left and the rest of America. Many of your Democrats, they live in their own world. They're detached from the average American person. They're detached from the average American's problems. They don't listen to anyone. And this is why many of your Democrats are struggling in the polls like Joker Joe, because they have a listening problem. It's not a messaging problem. What they forget is you serve we the people. We don't work for you. And they don't understand that when you serve people, you listen to people. People are telling you they don't want what you're trying to give them, yet you keep trying to ram it down people's throats, like these jabs with the jab mandates and things like trying to force your agendas. And you're also doing things like trying to give others instead of Americans. I mean, your Joker Joe is putting Americans dead last. I mean, he's given immigrants stuff first. He's given people in other countries like the Ukraine stuff first. And Americans have been put last as relating to building your country back better. I mean, how do you build America better when you're sending money to Ukraine, when you're going out here helping out people who are trying to get into the country illegally? How does that help build America better? The average American is struggling due to the really nasty policies like these jab mandates that took essential workers out of their jobs. I mean, essential workers who were praised for staying on the job during the pandemic, when they decided to not get a jab, in places like here in New York, they tell you you can't have a job. And that's throwing a middle finger up at many of the people who voted for you, expressing contempt for the people who voted for you. And what's happening now is the people who you expressed contempt for are saying that, we have been hoodwinked and bamboozled by a group of politicians who are about pushing agendas and not about helping the American people. And they're saying enough is enough of Joker Joe. Enough is enough of Joker Joe's policies. And it's all of his policies that he said we're going to make things better are making America be actually in a worse state than they were under Donald Trump. I mean, at least under Donald Trump, you could say that we had low crime, we had low unemployment. I mean, you could see an impact of his policies with the gas prices being low. And again, I don't like Donald Trump, but you can see an impact of his policies. But when you look at Joker Joe's policies, you see nothing but chaos and destruction. And you see him just sitting there in denial, just trying to ram his ideas down people's throats, similar to the way Lyndon Johnson tried to ram his Great Society down people's throats. And his Great Society turned America into one great hellhole because his welfare state really destroyed the American family, and his other policies just created blight all across this country. And that's why your Joker Joe's approval rating has dropped the same way Lyndon Johnson's approval ratings dropped in the late 60s, because just like Lyndon Johnson in the 60s, he's detached from his constituency. He's detached from his voting blocks. He's alienated many voters out here, and many of his other politicians that are working in his party, like your Eric Adams and many others, like Lori Lightfoot, just don't seem to listen, and they just don't seem to care. And that's made Americans very angry, not just at Joe Biden, but at the Democratic Party, because they talked a good game about change, but the only thing they've brought is chaos all across this country.
Yeah. You look at that. That is the face of a man who's
The face of failure.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
No, he's incompetent. Just like many of the other Democrats are incompetent.
Joe Biden, he said Trump was way better than Joe Biden, even though he's racist, but Joe Biden completely sucks on all levels, man. Joe Biden is racist too. Look at his policies, the 3 strikes law.
Yeah.
Standing with Strom Thurmond, James Eastland, John B. Stennis, the 2 senators from Mississippi who were known segregationists, known racist. He eulogized Strom Thurmond. Even though, Strom Thurmond, he recanted and tried to change his ways and stuff. He had a black daughter that nobody knew about until he died. He made sure, I love y'all. Just wait till I'm dead before I can not say nothing, okay? Just wait. Just come out, honey, just till I'm dead. At the point I died. I'll be fine. That way I don't have to listen to him. Wasn't that true?
Yep. But his administration has been.
It's like the Blazing Saddles. Remember that scene in Blazing Saddles when the woman gave the sheriff the pie?
Yeah.
And then she says, for all the hard work you did, and she comes back and says, just don't tell nobody I came here. That's what this is. Yeah. What you about to say, Sean? I cut you off. I'm sorry.
I said he was he's the worst president I have seen in history. And I mean, people thought Jimmy Carter was bad, and I knew Barack Obama was worse than Jimmy Carter. But this guy, I mean, again, one of the worst I have seen in American history. And he made big promises. He talked a good game, and he has not delivered a single thing as related to anything. And he's just at this point, I see November being a bloodbath because the failures of the Biden presidency are inexcusable, indefensible, and there's no way we can have this man in office or his administration in office much longer without some sort of check to keep him from running the country straight into the ground.
All right, I got a poll for everyone. Do you see the Biden administration winning 2024? Give me a yes or no in the poll. I'm about to launch on the GBoot2786 Facebook page. I'm asking the community yes or no. Do you see Biden winning this another election? So it's in the poll. I'm sure we'll get some results soon, and it'll be coming in. Okay, it's starting to come in now. Darius said it's the end for the United Snake. Stick a fork in her. I'm seeing people in the chat say it, but I want y'all to go on the community poll I posted on YouTube. Let me know what you think. Yeah, he's always talking at black folks and not to black folks. Yeah, that's his problem. They got some black people that still believe in Biden. I don't see Biden winning a basketball game. Hell, I don't see Biden winning pinochle. Yeah, so I'm looking at this. I certainly don't see him going any further. So we got a poll. The poll says everybody is stating right now, according to the results, 13 votes. Okay, wait, we got some people who think he will win in 2024. 8% say yes, 7% say yes, 93% say no. Computer Robots thinks that somehow or another Joe Biden is going to trick black people into voting for him. The Dems always do this and find some sort of trick to reel black people in. We could see Ron DeSantis run in 2024. If he does, Biden is in trouble, according to DeAndre Mosley.
Yeah. If either DeSantis or Kristi Noem run, he's in trouble.
Well, if Trump runs again, we know I certainly think Trump will even win.
He's made such a mess that I think Trump could beat him at this time.
Yeah. And guess what? If Trump decides to run for a re-election even after that, it wouldn't be a violation of the 25th Amendment, that you can't, there's an amendment that was made where a president could only serve 2 terms.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that. That wouldn't apply. I said 25th Amendment. What the hell am I thinking? Excuse me. That's the succession. I apologize. I like to get my stuff right because I don't ever want to come up here sounding like I'm some fool. It's the 22nd Amendment. Excuse me. That was in 1951. That's right. And that was passed. You know why? Because FDR served as
4
president
terms.
for 4 terms, correct. And they want to put an end to that. All right, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. So then this happened. Speaking of presidents, former President Barack Obama was slammed recently for his tweet concerning the Uvalde shooting and George Floyd's 2-year passing. Earlier this past week, of course, with the Uvalde shooting, former President Barack Obama, of course, like most celebrities, put out a tweet basically condemning the mass shooting and asking for thoughts and prayers, but also mentioning that everyone should remember George Floyd on the 2-year anniversary of his passing. Of course, George Floyd was killed by Derek Chauvin, murdered by Derek Chauvin, I should say, who had his knee on Floyd's back and neck, restricting his air, and killing him in front of in front of dozens of people on the streets of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Video footage of that, was shown worldwide and sparked outrage across the nation and the world. Now, of course, Fox News is going to say they have a problem with it. They put the video up, but this is the actual tweet. They said, Barack Obama stated, quote, "As we grieve the children of Uvalde today, we should take time to recognize that 2 years have passed since the murder of George Floyd under the knee of a police officer. His killing stays with us all to this day, especially those who loved him." Shall we play the video of these Fox trolls? And now you guys may think because I'm taking a lot of conservative points on gun rights and so forth and I'm critical of Biden and I'm the Republican. I'm not. I call things how I see it. But I do not like Fox News any more than I like MSNBC or NBC because they all are part of propaganda. But I guess Fox is not as annoying as CNN has become.
Today, we should take time to recognize that 2 years have passed since the murder of George Floyd under the knee of a police officer. His killing stays with us all to this day, especially those who loved him. And then you have Ben Shapiro tweeting, "What in the world does the former have to do with the latter?" And Dino saying, "I don't understand the connection." Joe, how do you feel about this?
I know I'm supposed to give analysis here, but I really have no words. What utter classlessness from the former president to somehow don't link anything to what happened to these kids down in Texas, particularly what happened in Minneapolis, where no one would ever defend what that police officer did to George Floyd. But what does that have to do with these kids being executed by this madman?
A lot of people criticize former President Barack Obama.
Breaking news now.
Jason Whitlock, the host. I say Jason
Today,
Shitlock.
the Mets announced infielder Robinson
I hate when it does this.
Designated.
A lot of people criticized, or a few people, I should say, criticized the former president. Jason Whitlock wrote, the host of the right-wing podcast Fearless issued a full-throated condemnation of Obama's remarks. Quote, "Let's stand George Floyd on the bodies of slaughtered children. This is one of the worst tweets in history." Other critics of the 44th expressed their dismay, more suddenly with pundit Matt Walsh in the writing, "What in God's name is wrong with you?" But Matt Walsh should shut up because he said a lot of racist bullshit in the past. Don't forget, we've got tweets on you, Matt. This is what Matt Walsh wrote. George Floyd was a violent criminal lowlife hopped up on fentanyl. The fact so I didn't even have to pull up his old tweets. Just look what he wrote. The fact that you would compare his death to the slaughter of 20 children is just incomprehensible. My God, you are a vile man. Nearly 10 years, Obama wrote and tweeted this, nearly 10 years after Sandy Hook and 10 days after Buffalo, our country is paralyzed, not by fear, but by a gun lobby and a political party that have shown no willingness to act in any way that might help prevent these tragedies. All right, Shawn, you take it.
Well, I don't know about comparing the mass shooting to George Floyd because I don't think it's appropriate to compare these tragedies. I just don't think it's appropriate at all to even talk about either of them because what happened to George Floyd was a statement about race and it was about devaluing the life of a black man. But when I look at this mass shooting, this is about destroying the lives of children. So I don't think Barack Obama's tweet was appropriate at all as related to both subjects because he trivializes both the life of George Floyd, which was taken maliciously by this race soldier, Derek Chauvin, and he also trivializes the lives of all of those 19 children who lost their lives to that mass shooter. So that's my issue with him as related to that tweet, which I believe was really insensitive and showed how detached he was, because you would think a former president of the United States would understand that during a time when people have lost their children, you would want to just focus on those children, because what we saw with that mass shooting in Uvalde, that was one of the most, it was extremely disturbing. I mean,
Right.
19 children lost their lives, and you want to try to talk about a subject of another man who lost his life that has nothing to do with this. That's what I have an issue with. And again, it just shows how he was not going out here and thinking critically about the situation. And he wasn't being sensitive as related to the situation of the lives that were lost here. I mean, there, as I see it, that's just completely out of line, his conduct here as related to this. And again, it's just showing me how he's not really connected to how the situation is a serious one in this country.
Yeah. Obama should stick to narrating nature documentaries and stay away from politics. He had his chance and he refused.
Yeah, he did nothing when all this was going on with Dylan Roof and Sandy Hook. I mean, his party had an opportunity to do something back then, and he should just keep his mouth shut, sit down, and just get out of here.
Yeah. Go back to the interviewing Bruce Springsteen on your podcast. Do your podcast with Bruce Springsteen on Spotify. Shit. I mean, yeah, he had 8 years. He actually had control of the House and the Senate in his first 2 years. That was the time, if he really was serious about doing something, he could have done it. He should have done it. Someone called him Bathhouse Barry.
Yeah. I call him Bootlick Barry.
That's what Judge Joe Bathhouse Barry, or Barry, aka Barry Soetoro. His stepfather was one of the wealthiest men in the world. He had oil ties to George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush. That's that little trick that Michelle gets candy from George W. Bush, and she's all buddied up with that low-life jackass and that damn Hillary Clinton. Oh, God, I'm tired of her. I need to laugh, y'all. That's right, Judge O'Brien. I'll tell you what. How about that? I would have slapped him. I would have come out this suit. Shay Sharp would have come out this suit. I would have slapped that man. I would have had to get him up 2 times. I give him a 2-piece. Like I did when I caught those 2 touchdown passes in the AFC Championship. Oh, yeah. Shay Sharp is real. Shay Sharp is a real thing, Skip. You know, you didn't see my show Tuesday, but I was imitating you and I was doing Harvey. You know he's wrong. You know, Matt Walton, you're just a racist, this Harvey. You're a damn racist. That's all it is, man. Because, you know, he wrote, and, you know, Barack Obama, he had his chance too. I mean, come on, man. You had your chance and you blew it. With your nasty, crusty ass. Beep. That's how you know Harvey's about to do a video. You hear that sound. Beep. He's, you know, a man that knows how to use Windows. Just Windows screen capture. That's all my videos are. You know, this Brittany Cooler, this heifer, you could tell she trash, man. Just look at her. She got a problem with black men. Just look at her. Well, your Brittany Cooper appears to be the bust down of the Lizzo clan. And your Brittany Cooper, can you do a video on her, Shawn?
I think the time has passed for that.
On Brittany, time has never passed on her.
Well, I'd have to see what she's talking about.
Does she compare black men to the shooter in Buffalo?
Well, I'd have to do a video on that then.
You're going to take a critical examination of this big fat woman.
Yeah, I'm going to take her to the barbecue.
I'm going to have to take her to the barbecue. In fact, she looks like she's had about 10 barbecues in her lifetime. Now, when I look at this Brittany Cooper, I mean, this woman really is the epitome of Big Shirley. I mean, she certainly was on the Martin show. Although they didn't show Big Shirley often, she certainly was the stand-in. The trusted beep. Oh, she wrong. Yeah, she a fat hoe. And she fat. Yeah, I know. I told Nicole. You know, Harvey is like the cheap version of Ice-T. I told Nicole, yeah. Because that's Ice-T's catchphrase. Yeah. Beep. I told Nicole I can't stand. I hate her. It's not her fault. His Doc Rivers. It's not her fault. It's not her fault. She's fat. It's not her fault. It's not Blake's fault either. It's nobody. No, it's not Joel Embiid's fault. It's nobody's fault. You know, bacon bits is good. You know, buffets are good. Have you ever ate Texas Roadhouse and had the radish? That's why my voice is so high. It's not her fault. I'm sure my mom and dad are watching, and I'm sure they're shaking their heads like, stop doing comedy, boy. Stop that. Especially my mom. I could hear her voice. Hey, mom, hey, dad. Say, I left the chat open for you all because, you got to guide your parents through computers since they're not used to technology. But they can post a comment. If you probably might see a comment with my because they don't have YouTube, but they want to say hi and stuff. So I showed them. So yeah. Brittany Cooper and Big Stacey Abrams. I thought they were twins when I saw them. Have you seen both of them before?
I have not seen them.
Okay, hold on. You've seen Stacey Abrams before, haven't you?
Yes, I've seen her.
Okay, so this is Stacey Abrams. Okay. So this is Stacey Abrams here. All right. And this is Brittany Cooper. This is Professor Crunk. Hold on. That's who's criticizing black men.
Just busted bimbo.
Busted gumbo?
Busted gumbo.
Busted the gumbo pot. Mama, we need a new one. Baby, get the new. I'm telling my girlfriend, baby, get the new pot.
So
she eats out the pot.
So this hungry hippo want to talk about black men.
Yeah, comparing black men to the white supremacists.
No, black men are not the same as white supremacists. Not at all.
Comparing him to this fool in Buffalo, Peyton Gendron. Yeah, I couldn't believe she did. I'm not gonna say I couldn't believe, but she does that crap all the time.
It's sad. She wants to talk about black men, but she looking like a hungry hippo. I mean, black men are nothing like the top shooter.
Judah Queen says she looks like a Mondo burger.
Look like Grimace from McDonald's land.
I said she looks like, I said both of them look like the plant from Little Shop of Horrors. Just feed me, Seymour. Feed me, Seymour. You know it's supper time. Just all right, I'm done. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh goodness, she's complaining about black men.
She can't get one. That's why she's complaining about them.
Jokes aside, what is it? What has happened that they would? What has happened that they have so much hatred? Because that's hate when you're talking about black men. Because you're describing your father, you're describing your brother, you're describing your uncles, you're describing your grandfather. I mean, what is it?
Well, some of these women have severe self-hate issues and daddy issues, and they project it onto other black men. So you have to understand some of these women are, I talk about this in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, about how some of these women have serious father issues. And it's those father issues that prevent them from being able to connect with any other man out here because they're so hurt by this man that the stories they've been told about him, that they think that every man is like their father. See, they buy into these lies early on, and this media out here that demonizes black men, and they think that this is the truth about black men. But the truth is that black men are nothing like this. But these women have been programmed, and their heads are so wired with this hatred that it literally becomes a part of them to the point where they start sounding like white supremacists.
Yeah, I remember her when she was attacking even Bill Cosby after he got out of his out of prison. And speaking of Bill Cosby, I know many of you were waiting because I had stated Andrew Wyatt was going to come on the channel. He and I had been in communication earlier this week. He said he would be happy to do the show Thursday, which is why I put the flyer up. I had sent the link to him. He said he would join. However, I know there was some type of conference that he has to make, or with conference call he had to make with Bill Cosby and his attorneys, because as you know, his civil trial is starting up next week. And in fact, I believe they picked the jury this week, or actually today. So he was doing that. So as a result, it may be likely that unfortunately he's not going to make it tonight. I'm deeply sorry. I really was waiting and hoping he would come on. But we did have one other topic we wanted to talk about before we get out of here, which is actually the civil trial. But let's talk about that for a minute now. What is going on in the civil trial, ladies and gentlemen, is that Judy Huff is suing Bill Cosby from, and I've talked about this the last time we were here on Sunday. She's basically suing Dr. Cosby for sexual assault that occurred when she was a minor. Now, this brother, shout out to brother Shawn, to brother Ron Hurd of We All Be News and Kiera Dangerous. They had Andrew Wyatt on their platform on yesterday evening, and they talked with him about what was going on. And so he broke down a lot of things, but this is Judy Huff. Okay, that's Judy Huff. This is her with her attorney, Gloria Allred. Now, Gloria Allred does not even if you know, she's an attorney. However, she does not actually, from what I heard, Andrew spoke when an interview that Andrew gave yesterday. She is not actually trying the case. She's the mouthpiece. And I can tell you, Gloria Allred, and I've been practicing as an attorney for a little over 8 years, almost 8 years now. I can say with great certainty that Gloria Allred has never even been inside a courtroom and yet alone practiced law, never wrote a brief, never actually did motions practice. I can tell because she's a mouthpiece. I'm confident she hasn't. My opinion, I'm confident. You know, we're talking about going now. Why are we here, Shawn? Is that California has changed the law where if an adult, even if it's 30, 40, 50 years ago, is sexually abused by another adult, and they repress that in their memory for up until the point they're 55 years old or 56 years old, whatever be the case, they can file a lawsuit. It's outside the statute of limitations for a crime, but we're going to get you some compensation. This is why I say, I've thought about living in California, but California is dangerous. It's expensive and it's dangerous. You save more money going on vacation than you do living in California. Everything is high. No offense, Black Voltron. But I've seen the price for gas. Same thing happens even in New York. It's expensive living in New York. Shawn, I know you know.
I know because I live here. Very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Eat you alive.
But he's about to go back on trial, and from my knowledge, he's not actually going to participate in it. But this woman is claiming has been allowed to change her story from the information I gathered. She says Judy Hutt was not at Playboy Mansion when alleged assault actually happened. This is what Bill Cosby's attorneys and teams have stated. Now, she has changed her story from different years. It went from 1974 then to 1975. And the reason being, I believe, is that if you remember in 1974, you got to keep in mind, Bill Cosby is a working man. He's not only doing TV shows, he's not only performing stand-up specials, he's filming movies. He's filming Let's Do It Again around this time with Sidney Poitier. So in some court filings that were filed, and this is an article back on May 14th, so just last week, Cosby's attorneys asked the judge for an emergency hearing, claiming that Hutt changed her story less than 2 weeks before her civil case against Cosby was set to begin. Cosby's attorneys, Michael J. Friedman, said the comedian would be irreparably harmed if both sides don't meet in front of the judge to discuss this new development before jury selection starts on May 24th. The defendant is filing his motion for terminating sanctions on May 13, 2022, based on the fact that for the first time, days before the final pretrial status conference in this case, and little more than a week before the start of the trial, the plaintiff now admits that she was not 15 years old when she was abused by the defendant at the Playboy Mansion, and that the incident did not happen in 1974 as she has long claimed, Freeman wrote in the motion. Cosby's other attorney, Jennifer Bongine, said Playboy Enterprises has provided the mansion's visiting books and calendars of events from 1974, none of which allegedly shows Huff or her friend Donna Samuelson visited the mansion as they had claimed. They are asking the judge to allow the Playboy records into the trial as evidence to counter Huff's claims. Cosby's attorneys also said a Playboy Mansion employee could say nothing about the security protocols of the mansion in 1974 and had no other information because he, quote, lacked personal knowledge about the records. Now, according to what I'm hearing, what Huff is alleging is that Cosby invited the teens to the Playboy Mansion and told them that they were to say they were 19 years old, but she does not allege that Bill Cosby drugged or raped her or forced a kiss on her like some women have claimed. What she is saying is that he had molested her by putting his hand down her pants and then taking her hand in his hand and performing a sex act on himself without consent. That's why we're here. Yet, more evidence has come out, and I'm sure it'll come out at the trial, that she actually still has pictures of herself in Cosby when she was a minor. Excuse me, not when she was minor, I apologize. Even after she was minor, when she's an adult. And yeah, I have to correct myself when I say that, when she was a minor. But when she actually, when I looked at it and listened to what Andrew was saying yesterday, she has this photo of her and Bill Cosby in her book right beneath her wedding photo. Now, if someone molested you, if someone did something so heinous and derogatory and vulgar, why would you keep a photograph of him in your book? Into what Andrew is stating, and this would be hearsay, but what he said Judith Huff had said is that this was a very valuable picture for me. I remember this. You get assaulted and you're holding on to photographs of your perpetrators, just like what happened with Michael Jackson. You're holding a ring. The idiot is holding a ring. Wade Robinson has a ring that Michael Jackson allegedly gives you that you still keep 20, 30 years ago after he molested you, after he raped and assaulted you, sodomized you, even according to what you were alleging.
That makes no logical sense.
No, it makes perfect sense, Shawn. It's gold diggers.
Yeah.
That's the mind of a gold digger. That's the mind of an opportunist. Even when I watched that bullshit documentary and that mockumentary that W. Kamau Dumbbell did, I saw women who even after the first time, that UMass student, she kept going back. I had a career in music. I was going to do this and that. I wish Bill Cosby probably could have, he probably heard her voice, heard her sing and said, "Oh, this bitch sucks. I can't stand her. I ain't putting my name out like this. I will not put her name out like this to say that this woman actually represents me. No, I will not do it. I will not take her to the Quincy Jones studio and have her sing a song and music. She can play on a xylophone, on a toy xylophone for her life, for all I care. But she would not be recording and saying that Bill Cosby gave me my big break, and then you get your big break, and then you screw up on the Tonight Show. No, that's not going to be on me. No. That's what I think happened. Because that even happened with Andrea Constant. From my understanding, he even tried to hook her up with contacts at NBC with Dick Ebersol, who was the head of, if you remember, Dick Ebersol was the head of NBC programming.
Yeah.
The sports programming. He also was the executive producer of SNL when Eddie Murphy was there. And by the way, on another note, it was Dick Ebersol who was the medium with Bill Cosby and Eddie Murphy when Bill Cosby wanted to talk with Eddie Murphy about his comedy and stuff. It was Dick Ebersol that gave him his number. When you talk about dark skin, brother, I said I hold the you. I hold the you because you have no talent and ability to actually make it. You see, I've been doing this for 50 years. I provided a nice life and living, doing clean comedy for the wife Camille and my 5 beautiful children. I like to do the shows to help you and help everyone else to show something that you can be successful. You don't have to say the filth, fly, and filth, and all of that. You do. You see, I used to love you kids, but you see, today your kids are stupid. You go up and you become stupid, and then you have more children, and then you don't raise them, and guess what? They're even stupider. I wonder if Andrew will see this and take that to Dr. Cosby. He'll probably, you need to stay as an attorney and don't even think of impersonating me. You see, you got she couldn't cut the so this woman Judy, but getting back in all seriousness, she couldn't cut the pudding. She could not dip her spoon into the pudding, and she's doing this, and he dumped. Geez, he cheated on Camille with that. Dr. Cosby, we love you, but God, some of these women, you should have known better, brother. Tell me you were going blind beforehand. You messing with these mud ducks. The one that Steve Nash looking. Oh, Steve Nash's ex-girlfriend, Shawn Andrea Constant. Ugh.
These bust downs.
What? Yeah, damn. Look at that, honey. I prefer he pay a hooker. Or not do it at all. He could have.
I guess he put a paper bag over their head.
Oh, just like in Scary Movie 2 with Marlon Wayans. Yeah, put a paper bag. No, don't take it off. Don't take it off. I got him crying over here. That's because you love the channel and you should donate to the Cash App. Donate to the Cash App, to the PayPal, and the Venmo. She could help me so I can make the sequel to Ghost Dad 2. But Shawn, what do you have to say about all of this stuff?
Well, I think this is a desperate attempt at another cash grab from a washed up, old, busted female. She knows she can't trade on her looks anymore, so she comes out with this revisionist story, hoping that Bill Cosby would give her a 6-figure cash settlement to get her out of his hair. So what Bill Cosby's doing is the right thing, taking this to court, because this is how you deal with these bust downs, because her story makes absolutely no logical sense. I mean, when you listen to her story, when it changes multiple times, that's a red flag. And the fact that you have Playboy with records showing that she wasn't there, this practically is going to put the nail in her coffin of her case, because once they take her case to the jury, they're going to see that there's no real evidence of any sort of anything going on, and that this is basically a cash grab. Because when a woman is violated by a man, the first thing you would think she would want to do is go to the police and file a police report. The fact that this woman has not filed any police report is one red flag to me. The other is, as you stated, this woman has a picture of Bill Cosby right next to that of her husband. Why would you put a picture of somebody who sexually violated you next to the picture of your husband? That's a critical question I want to ask, because that doesn't make logical sense. I mean, if a man violates you, you don't want his picture anywhere near the person who you love the most. No, you want this man put in prison, and you would have wanted that man put in prison as far back as the 70s when you allege you met him. Now, that's the whole thing that really I find to be questionable. This woman says she was in the Playboy mansion, but the Playboy security is some of the tightest, because during the 70s, Hugh Hefner would not want to be held liable for any sort of impropriety on his property. So she's sitting there saying, oh, I was there. But the whole thing was, I doubt Playboy security would have even let Bill Cosby bring somebody on their premises, because they don't want to deal with the liability or the stigma, because porn was very controversial in the 70s, and they wouldn't have wanted to have a child on their platform, because that would bring negative press to them. So when I'm listening to this woman's story, it doesn't have any ring of truth, not at all. I don't really believe anything that comes out of this woman's mouth. Her credibility is nothing to me. And I believe a jury would also not believe this woman, because the way she is talking and the points that she's making make no sense. And the fact that she keeps revising her story shows us she's a liar, because when you have a person who's telling the truth, they are going to remain consistent in their statements, and their statements are going to remain the same. The facts are not going to change because they are going to have a clear memory of all of the details. And if a woman was violated the way that this woman says that she would definitely remember this for the rest of her life. And she would be, again, looking for criminal justice, not looking to get a civil payday in a civil court. Because what she basically wants, again, is a cash settlement. And she's hoping to get Bill Cosby to give her a little bit of money so she can have something to retire on her old age. But Bill Cosby has to send a message to all of these bust downs that there will be no money for them, and they need to take a trip to bust downtown and find a place to peddle their garbage someplace else.
I'll get her off in a minute, Jaleel, but you look at Bill Cosby, you see him to the right, and you see her. I don't really think I think when he saw he went blind.
Yeah.
He's actually surprised. And that I messed with that shit. I had that. Oh no. God, come on, Doc. Did Bill run into Stedman? What? Stedman at Oprah Stedman? Huh?
Excuse me.
Y'all know that she was messing with Steve Nash, huh?
Yeah, but these guys will put. Some of these guys will. When they're desperate, they'll put their privates in anything.
I don't think he was desperate. I think they were coming on to him.
Yeah, but
it's like with Sam Cooke. I mean, they come on to him, but and at that time, you remember this is after, and I remember Bill Cosby's attorneys were even saying this when Bill lost his son Enos, when Enos was murdered. That was a very, I'm sure, difficult time for him, and I'm not making an excuse for adultery or stuff, but he probably was going around, throwing himself, open to stuff like that. He was open to stuff before that. And it's no secret. I was listening to Andrew talk about it yesterday. Mrs. Cosby knew about the affair. I'm sure she did. Just like Frank Sinatra's wife knew. Frank Sinatra's wife even said, and I talk about this in the book, she said, I understand Frank attracts women, so I don't blow up when women come on to him. Nat King Cole's wife, she said, my husband was my husband. Nat King Cole was having his affairs. His mistress actually called the house telling her to divorce him so she could marry him. Desi Arnaz used to cheat on Lucy Bad.
Yeah, I heard one story. He cheated with Cesar Romero, but that's...
Desi?
Yeah, that's what I heard a long time ago.
Ricky Ricardo?
Yeah.
Cuban Pete. Well, I knew Desi was a ladies' man. Cesar Romero, I heard, he wasn't married.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me, but Ricky Ricardo? Ay. I don't. Ay. I play with another man, Bridge.
I think that was the straw that broke it for Lucy.
Oh, please. I hope that's not true.
I hope not either, but that's what I read a long time ago.
Damn. Well, they always say stories about this. And Lucy couldn't be in the show. That's probably why. No, I don't think so. Yeah, well, that was their personal business. John Sally even talked about the fact that Bill was living in the Playboy Mansion at one time, and because Camille kicked him out, which he probably did. She got fed up, but at the same time, here's the thing about Camille Cosby, and I love Mrs. Cosby. Mrs. Cosby, Andrew, if you see the broadcast, tell Mrs. Cosby, Dr. Cosby, my love, but especially to Mrs. Cosby, because that's the type of men, and Shawn, I think you would agree, That's the type of woman you want married to be your partner for the rest of your life. You mess up, and she still has your back.
Yeah.
And on top of that, she's a writer. She's also old school. You know, she comes from that era where marriage, the vows mean something. The vows are sacred. Yes, he cheated on me. Yeah, he sinned against God, but that's still my husband. That's the father of my children. That's the grandfather to our grandchildren. And I also have no prenup. So just think, if she had done something, she could have divorced him at any time and got a nice hefty paycheck.
Yep.
But she didn't divorce him. They are still married. 57 years this past January. That is a rider. I love Mrs. Cosby. Her, I love who's a couple other women we love in this. I can't think of too many, huh? I'll open the phone lines briefly. 656-6760, 504-656-6760. I can't think of too many, Shawn. Could you?
No, I can't. I'll be right back in a moment.
All right. Shawn went to go get some tacos. Now, when I take a critical examination of your Taco Bell actually is not that real taco meat. No, Taco Bell serves cat. And that is why it actually is spelled, that is actually taco spelled backwards. Oh, cat. Well, personally, I'm in the mood for tacos, aren't I? Oh, I was hoping my brother Andrew Wyatt. This is Steve Harvey of the Steve Harvey Morning Show, everybody. And I was just hoping, I was hoping his ass would have showed up. You know, I was hoping my Omega Sci-Fi brother, we could talk about the love that us Omega Sci-Fi players have for Dr. Cosby. Because, you know, Steve Harvey say that. You got to say ass and you got to stretch out the words. You got to show your love. For Andrew Wyatt. Put your hands together, y'all. Put your hands together.
And I'm back.
Shawn is back. He said that Taco Bell wasn't for him. I remember when I was in Cleveland, Shawn. I had $2 to my name. $2 damn. I didn't have a bank. I had to roll up my money in my sock. My sock. Not my sock, my sock. I had cash in it. And I bought me one taco. One hard shell taco. I can't remember, y'all, but I'm blessed. I can afford all the damn tacos I want in the world. I'm from Cleveland, y'all. Don't forget. 656-6760. Not as good as Godfrey's, but close enough, huh? You should be talking about street clothes, Gavin. Not tacos. I don't want taco. I want Krispy Kreme. Charles Barkley always want Krispy Kreme. And now we got somebody coming out of the applause right now. Area code 985-703.
Danielle. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Okay, what's going on, Danielle? Hold on a second, Danielle. I'm apparently having some issue with my phone. It's 10 o'clock already where I'm at. Here.
Yeah.
I don't know why my phone... Hold on a second, y'all. I think I know what this is. Give me 1 second, Danielle.
Okay.
All right. I think I know what the problem is. Oh, Steve Harvey know what the problem is, y'all. Your ass... See, your ass ain't even prepared to take a damn call. I remember I had the old school phone. My phone went zzz, zzz. Y'all put y'all hands together and show your love for the one and only Miss Danielle Ma. She from Thibodeau, y'all. What's up, Danielle? Y'all hear Danielle?
Oh my God, I have been dying over here tonight. Goodness.
Tell me y'all can hear Danielle.
Oh my God. I needed this laugh. Oh my goodness. Your topics tonight, great. But and very colorful. But oh my goodness. I'm enjoying your show tonight. I really don't have too much of a comment.
What? What your ass said? Your ass called. What? Your ass called here. Now look, girl. I'm gonna tell you. You need to do a couple things here.
What?
All right.
What is I need to do?
You gotta buy your sons all of my suits, my junior Steve Harvey suits that you can find at K&G. I know it's in Thibodeau somewhere. I know it's there. You're gonna have to buy a couple of them suits. Your ass gonna have to go down to the strip mall and get a Steve Harvey suit. I know Easter done passed, but you know, Labor Day ain't that far away. You can get a Steve Harvey seersucker suit. Then you gotta buy a couple of my books that my ghostwriter wrote, but got my name on it.
Oh Lord!
Act like a lady, but think like another, but like Joanna Man. That's the new book that's coming out. You buy. But other than that, girl, that you gotta buy them books because you got to think. You can't. This ain't the integrity game, Daniel. This the money game. Yeah. You gotta do this stuff. Remember, I'm from Cleveland, y'all. You not. But yeah, baby. I'm gonna tell Shirley Strawberry to look out for you, honey. Said, get my calendar. You and Levita get my coffee.
Gavin, I know your parents had a wonderful time raising you as a child. I bet there was never a dull moment in your house when you were a child. Because you are hilarious.
Yeah, those were always fun. I don't know about hilarious. I was always quiet. I was quiet as a kid, too much, but we always had fun and laughed. Believe it or not, I wasn't really that. I didn't consider myself that funny, but I was quiet.
That's usually how it starts, and you came out to chill at some point.
I wasn't shy, but yeah.
But I was gonna say, I did want to make one comment on Dr. Camille Cosby. Very classy black queen. That is one beautiful woman.
That's right. I know how to pick them.
An example to be, I don't know if I could have been as strong as she is and stuff, but she's very classy. The way she carries herself and everything, she's just a beautiful lady. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, how to sum it up, but she's just a very classy black queen.
Well, I would like to thank you for complimenting me on how to pick my wife. I know how to pick them, and I pick them from and I pick them very good. Thank you very much. And I'll send Camille your love, and hopefully she'll give me a stogie afterwards. Go eat me a sandwich. All right.
No, I'm sorry, Gavin. I was going to say, you were right. He had to have been blind with that woman. I'm still trying to figure out, what is that?
So, piggity hoos.
Andrew Concept, what is that? I'm like, oh my God.
The thing.
I mean, was that true? Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever it is, it's pissed off. Remember that movie, the thing with Kurt Russell? Charles, get your ass over here. McCready, burn it, McCready.
Oh my God! I'm like, when I first saw a picture of that woman, I said, wait, is that a woman?
I guess we really know what happened to the thing at the end of the movie. We know now it's assimilated all across the earth. It's made its way to the mainland. I'm not holding nothing back. No, these women can kiss it.
There's something else it's like they just digging up people like crazy. I'm like, oh, this one here, I really don't see this case.
Kick rocks.
Her winning. Huh?
They can kick rocks.
Yes, this one that's about to go to trial and stuff. I don't see that. I don't see her winning. She done changed her story too much. But then again, she might win because she got the complexion.
Complexion for the protection.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just sad. I mean, golly.
Yeah.
The way they dragging them and stuff. I'm just every time I'm like hearing sometimes, okay, who's gonna be the next one on the chopping block? Because they going look like there's a list that they going after.
Yeah, that they are.
Now if you had what you said?
They are, but they are.
If you have oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just finish this last comment, because I gotta wrap up.
No, I was just gonna ask you if you could just take a guess, who would you think would be the next one?
If I had to guess, because he hasn't been touched yet, Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, Lord. You better leave him alone. That one there, I think they better leave that one alone.
He will curse you out if you accuse him of something. I don't know this bitch. like he didn't come into America. Who the fuck this asshole bitch? What?
That is not going to go over well at all.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah. I mean, yeah, but I know you got to cut it. Y'all have a good night, B1 family. I actually got a doctor's appointment in the morning, so I'm gonna listen to the rest of it if I can stay up.
Okay, good luck.
I'll be trying to stay up. I'll be trying to stay up for your shows and stuff, and I'll be passing out.
Right. All right, Danielle.
Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
All right.
All right. Yeah, it could be her or Denzel. I had already plugged in one of your books, Shawn, but why don't you plug in something? Do you have any last comments you want to make too?
All right. Well, the SJS Direct 2021 books are now available on Amazon.com, and you can pick up ISIS Legacy and Eastern Horror of the Hyena Woman on Amazon.com right now. And I'd really appreciate it if everybody headed over to Kickstarter and signed up to be notified on the launch of my upcoming John Haynes comic, which is going to be coming out on June 22nd. So I'm going to leave a link to the John Haynes comic and the Kickstarter for it. So I would appreciate if you guys would go out and sign up. I'm trying to get at least 50 to 100 people to be notified so that I can get this project funded. I've got 39 followers right now. So if you guys could head over there, I got 41 in the chat. If you guys could head over there right now and ask to be notified on the launch and put in a pledge later on June 22nd, I would really appreciate that.
All right, y'all support the brother. Somebody said Andrea Costan looked like Willem Dafoe's twin. the Willem Dafoe, the Green Goblin. Godspeed, Spider-Man. I remember Willem Dafoe did a movie called Mississippi Burning with Hugh Jackman. Huh?
That was back when I was in high school.
Yeah, I remember that movie. That was a good movie. Danielle said, please excuse me for not saying hello to you.
Hello. Well, hello.
Okay. We're gonna wrap this up, y'all. To answer your question, dark skin brother 3. If you look at the bottom of the ticker, we have Google Pay, PayPal, which you can submit money to me if you would like to donate at gavin.grich1@gmail.com, Zelle and Venmo, ladies and gentlemen. This has been funny, huh? Everybody's enjoyed themselves. Anybody was offended? Oh, kiss my behind. All right. No, we enjoyed this. I enjoy you all. Love you all. I thank you all. Of course, I'm actually finishing up these. I always say this, but check out the at Commonwealth Cos page for updates when we'll drop our book. Ladies and gentlemen, that's coming soon. Also support NawniesCreoleBlends.com. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nawnies goes great with every dish. You can actually order you some Nawnies now if you would like. Just although it may not get to you soon, but for Memorial Day, you may want some seasoning. You can go ahead and order it. We're trying to get our product in stores. We're working on that now. You also can support us doing the Patreon and the advertising on our email. Just email me, gavin.jewish1@gmail.com. And our Patreon is the same as the YouTube channel, gboot2786. And of course, our music got to get on up in video. But we want you all to get on up. And Judah Queen says she's still laughing. Danielle said she's still laughing. Bossa Queen says she still has my seasonings. They are delicious on everything. I'm glad you love it, baby. Shout out to Bishop Scott. I saw you earlier, Bishop, but I sent you an invite to come in. You didn't come in if you're watching, but let's go on and get on up. Shawn, thank you. I know you've been here for a while, so we've been having fun. I didn't even look at the time. So thanks, Shawn. I appreciate it. Right. And this has been another edition of Gavin Reshaw Presents on G-Boot 2786. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll holla. Peace.
All right.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do, but once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really moving, time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop, I'll do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up, baby. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor.